Good morning, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining us today. With us, we've got longtime friend of the National Retail Association, Christine Moody, who is the founder and director of Brand Audits. Christine, thank you very much for joining us today.
Thanks, Beck, and hello, everybody. So today I just want to discuss and have a quick conversation and presentation about how to be COVID-19 safe, but more importantly, how to stay on brand. So I'm going to cover, we all know about the COVID-19 safe rules and regulations. Obviously, it varies between state to state, and depending on what stage you're up to in the 3-step plan to get us out of this COVID bubble. But, we've got the hand sanitizers. Obviously, you've got to have those at the door, at the entrance, and at service areas around the bricks and mortar stores, etc., within the centre and within your own store. Then you've obviously got to do the frequent cleaning, and all these rules and regulations are governed across the Australian government, but also state-specific as well. But basically, regularly clean objects and hard surfaces such as your point-of-sale counters, your point-of-sale machine, your displays. There's rules and regulations about stock. So if people bring stock back, you've got to keep that in quarantine for so many hours. But everything from handrails, door handles, countertops, etc. Then we've also got the social distancing. So we've got that 1.5 metre rule within the store, but also external from the store. So if you're in a centre, etc. But also there's the number of people that can go into store as well, one person per 4 square metres. So we're getting used to this by now, and obviously ongoing staff education. So as all the different steps are carried out and they're easing restrictions, we go into a different stage. There's a whole new set of rules and regulations behind that. So just making sure that staff understand that it is evolving. It can be a little bit overwhelming, but it's the new normal of what we're going to be involved with the next year or so. So to flip this on a positive side, and also to consider your brand. So we can all rush out. We've all, reopening stores and things like that, and we're trying to get our head around the different regulations and what paperwork we have to have for the government. But at the top of your list should be consider your customers. So how are you going to make them feel really comfortable and secure when they're shopping in store or online as well? So when they're getting parcels delivered, that's important to let them know that what you're doing in the back office as well, or the behind the scene as well. So consider what the new in-store experience is going to be. So you're probably going to have signage up. You're probably going to have someone at the door that greets people that maybe will hand out PPE, so the mask or the hand sanitizer. How are they going to be greeted? Because we want them to still come into our stores. They've still got to everyone's getting used to this mask and hand sanitising. I don't know about you, but my hands are so dry, they've been over sanitised. But how are you going to organise things like, how do you get we've heard since some of the stores have been opening and that some customers are getting, particularly around restaurants and cafes, the restricted numbers and people having to line up. So how are you going to handle the queues? How are you going to make it, I'm not saying everything has to be a fun experience, but can you do things like go along the queue and get, give the customer some samples, or offer free coffee, or take their coffee order, or keep them amused and sidetracked, I guess, so they don't really realise the waiting time. In fact, I'm sure Disney has got some tips and tricks on this, because they are geniuses of making you feel like you're not in a queue, or the time is passing quite easily. If you've got people that are subcontractors, like perhaps a security guard outside your store, make sure that they are part of your brand. So they actually understand what your brand stands for, and they're part of the team, because that is often the first point of contact before you actually go across the threshold into your store. So if you've got a big burly policeman type person at your door, and that's not really your brand, that's not really the image you want, think about how you're going to incorporate, without losing that security feel, how are they going to dress? How are they going to be greeting customers, and what are they going to be doing in that queue? And that really goes, I mean, I know some stores have security staff during busy times. So this isn't just COVID times, it's also other times as well when you need to call in staff that are contracted to help you with your security. Ensure you have a dedicated hotline or a website that actually has all the latest information. And this can be accessed by your customers, and it might go more in depth for your staff as well, particularly around training, so different things that may be updated from one week to the next. Don't overwhelm them, keep it simple, tell them what they need to know, and make sure that they've got someone they can talk to, so a real person they can talk to if they've got further information. Also, think across all your channels. So think beyond, so this is bricks and mortar and online, all the touch points. So, for example, what I see in store at the moment, there's lots of hand sanitizers, there's lots of sort of laminated signage and things like that. It all looks very temporary because we've all had to do it in such a rush, but think long term. So I'm sort of jumping to the second last point here, but think about things like, there's companies like Hygimed, it's part of the uniform group or Total Uniform, should I say, that actually can brand your hand sanitizer. So why have off-the-shelf gel hand sanitizer when it can actually have your brand on it? How's it going to be displayed? Where are you going to put it? How are these signs going to be visualised? How are they on brand? Do they align with your brand messages? Do they have the imagery? Everything down to the font, the colours, the language that your brand and your clients and your customers would expect. So we have got rules and regulations. Take those and build on those and make sure it's coordinated with your brand. Other things I've seen is some beauty salons, and other retailers, if they've got a particular corporate colour, they're getting there for themselves and their staff, they're getting colour coordinated and branded PPE, so the masks and gloves, they've got to wear them. So they've gone one step further and said, okay, how can we incorporate this into the whole customer experience? You know, the staff are wearing one, the customers are wearing one, they all feel safe. And some have even got customised screens, as you've seen in some of the, like Woolworths and Coles have got them for their staff at the point of sale. But also think about other instances where you might need to have those incorporated. And they can be done quite well if they're designed well to fit around your interiors. And be innovative. So this is the opportunity to say, yes, we've got rules and regulations. So what can we change and how can we make the customer experience better? So, for example, you may have to make certain things wider. So some of the aisles wider. You may have to think about the next store that you fit out. How are you going to incorporate, how are you going to use the interior design to create some of these 1.5 setbacks, or some of the signage, maybe it's electronic or digital. How are you going to incorporate these into your store so they're not so stuck on just to cope with a pandemic that we're going through at the moment? Think long term and think about the flexibility as things ease. Also, make sure that you've got you consider ongoing audits, because it's not set and forget. It's basically, here are the rules today in our particular state or across Australia in our particular state, so let's incorporate those, but what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen tomorrow? So think about, make sure that the same information is going out to everybody, your staff and your customers, but also make sure that you're constantly updating all the information and making sure that there's regular in-store checks and regular online checks to make sure everything's being coordinated and actually stays on brand. So I really believe that this is an opportunity to review everything that you're doing, you know, the safety measures from a health point of view, and the design of stores will be slightly different in the future. So be innovative and take some of these things on board beyond the rules of what you've got to do. Okay, well, I'll go on to the next one. So just in case you wanted some further information, obviously you've got the Australian Government Department of Health site that's got all the latest about and downloadable resources. And obviously National Retail Association as well has got COVID-19 retail recovery protocols on their website as well. Great resources there, guys, to go to. Thank you very much, everyone.